so many Zionists are sounding the alarm and freaking out about what somehow this election means for Jews in New York. Betar, which is a Zionist organization, they're pretty extreme and psychotic. They tweeted that all Jews need to leave New York right now. And you're like, I'm sorry, what? This is what they tweeted. They said, we urge all Jews to evacuate New York City. Evacuate immediately. And then friend of the show, Raphael Shimonov, wrote, why would we leave after door knocking for him? Lol. Which is so funny because there is no way, I'm sorry, there is no way that over 1 million voters in the Democratic primary go to vote for a candidate and like in New York City, and Jews are not among them. In fact, who knows what the final polling is, but Zohran might have won the Jewish vote. Raf is Jewish. So many of my friends who campaigned, who made calls for, in fact, the people I can think off the top of my head, literally who were involved in this campaign, including celebrities, are all Jewish, all of them. So once again, you have Zionist policing who's a Jew, who's not a Jew, who's in danger, and it's utter BS, right? And that's from the liberal side, right? David Frum today said, so much for the slogan, there's no place for anti-Semitism in New York. What? What are you even talking about, my guy? What does that mean? That means that by virtue of electing a Muslim candidate, he presumes that that person is anti-Semitic by nothing other than the fact that they're Muslim. Nothing, like they didn't say anything. He has said nothing at all, other than express dismay at the policies of Bibi Netanyahu, which last I checked, so did many Jews, including even people who might self-identify as Zionists or who support broadly the state of Israel and its project of yes, Jewish supremacy. Okay, like no, it's because he's Muslim. So now, despite that, AIPAC money didn't win last night. Again, back to Michael Lang, brutal night for the pro-Israel lobby, which is called the Solidarity PAC, I guess, in New York. 43-point loss to Shahana Hanif, who re-won her Brooklyn City Council District chair, which is huge. 44-point loss to Alexa Aviles, 53-point loss to Jamani Williams. Andrew Cuomo, historic choke job. I mean, again, these are people who have probably expressed some amount of support for Palestinian human rights. Maybe they've said killing babies bad, genocide bad. And they lost heartily. But of course, liberal Zionists tend to be, although not a lot, slightly more sugar-coated with all of it, even though it's ultimately pretty damn Islamophobic. But you've got Elise Stefanik, of course, Republican representative, who, remember, was one of the main people who got like people like Claudine Gay, former president of Harvard, removed from their positions because she was part of this witch hunt against college administrators who supposedly were endorsing, a death to Jews message. Truly psychotic. And here she is saying, TikTok, Kathy Hochul, we know you're in full-blown panic mode as you frantically draft, blah, 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 and sent out congratulatory tweet to the anti-Semitic jihadist communist candidate you helped elect in your party's Democratic primary because of your silence, weakness, and ineptitude. I mean, she's not wrong. Kathy Hochul's silence, weakness, and ineptitude when it came to calling out Andrew Cuomo probably did help Zohran Mamdani win. like it's so funny that like the Republicans somehow think the Democrats didn't try to stop this. Democrats were all over trying to stop Zohran's win. And so it's just incredible to watch that. But then, of course, it's gotten even deeper. And I wanted to pull up a couple of the worst, most Islamophobic, psychotic tweets and statements when it comes to Zohran's win, because I think it tells us a couple things. It's not just to say, okay, it's the year 2025 and somehow it's okay to be bigoted against Muslim people and Islamophobes are alive and well. That maybe we didn't know as much, but we kind of knew that existed. We expect this kind of stuff. But I want to make a bigger point, and I'll get there, about we're in a moment where we're being told by some pundits that MAGA is actually really anti-war, that MAGA doesn't want, to go and attack Iran and all this. And to the extent that that might be true, it is more true that these same figures are raging Islamophobes. They are raging racists. And they, much like Tucker Carlson's I don't care about Iraq because it's full of nothing but sand monkeys, or whatever he said, like monkeys, apes. They don't care about the reason they don't want to go to Iraq is because why try to topple their dictator? Good that they have a dictator. Now, I don't agree in either stance to topple dictator or to not topple dictator. The US has a habit of propping up dictators. That's my problem. But don't get it twisted. Don't mistake their isolationism for rampant racism when they have an America First movement. This has precedent in the United States. The precedent is the xenophobic nativism of World War II, of not wanting to get involved in that war. And let's be even clearer about it, because I, as an anti-war organizer in my younger days, I had friends who were in their 90s, shout out Ralph DeGia, who were World War II peaceful resistors. What did that mean? It didn't mean that they didn't want to go fight Nazis. It means they didn't want to kill people. They were resistors. They were pacifists, right? They didn't want to kill people. It didn't matter what the circumstances. That's very different. Being peaceful, being against war is very different than being a nativist isolationist that doesn't want to get involved in another war because who cares about the Jews, or who cares about the Muslims, or who cares? That's a very different flavor. And this week, you are seeing that reality, the ugly underbelly that is just under the surface of this so-called isolationism, anti-war stuff, because every single person who maybe uttered a little bit of anti-war crap is now freaking out about who? About Zohran Mamdani. Why? Because he's Muslim. Because he's Muslim and he's in New York. And I gotta say, as someone who was in New York on 9/11, and who saw the massive amounts of xenophobia against, the Muslim community, and who stood in solidarity with them here and abroad, this really is actually a beautiful moment. Like it makes me feel like we can move past and we can humanize our Muslim brothers and sisters, and it just like, and see them as more than their religion / with their religion. I'm like, I take the opposite, stance, but I'm sorry. Was that too humanist? You've got your Laura Loomers. There will be another 9/11 in New York City and Zohran Mamdani will be to blame. Oh my God. What does she know that we don't know? There's going to be another 9/11, but it gets worse because there's already been a 9/11. Don Trump Jr., New York City has fallen. Michael Malice, I'm old enough to remember when New Yorkers endured 9/11 instead of voting for it. That doesn't even make no sense. None of this makes any sense. You just voted for 9/11, dog. Like, anyway, Charlie Kirk. I think he said some isolationist things as of late. He doesn't want a war in Iran, although he did say he trusts the president and he loves the president. At the end of the day, he's going to fall in line with president. But anyway, to the people who would break beer with Charlie Kirk, 24 years ago, a group of Muslims killed 2,753 people on 9/11. Now, a Muslim socialist is on pace to run New York City. So, what do you even like? What's the correlation? What's the correlation? 24 years ago, 30 years ago, the US CIA supported Al-Qaeda and bin Laden covertly in their war against the Russians. And then 10 years later, they did 9/11. Should we talk about the CIA? Should we talk about the deep state that you love to talk about? No, you want to make this about Muslims? Okay, cool. Because at the end of the day, you guys, it doesn't matter how much they want to talk about the deep state. It doesn't matter how much they want to talk about isolationism. These MFers will always be anti-Muslim. They will always come back to it. And yes, it is very pathetic. And I was going to talk about this maybe more on Friday. One of the first replies is Cenk Uygur going, "You can't really mean that. I mean, this is a dick thing to say. Please tell me you understand that Muslims are humans." He doesn't. Why? Even if he did in his heart, he can't do that to his base. His base wants the red meat. New York City's been taken over by a Muslim American. Or forget the American, Muslim. That's a way better headline. You think anybody wants to click on Charlie Kirk saying, yeah, you know what? Muslims are plumbers and they're accountants and they're our friends and they're just hardworking Americans too. No. Once again, as I, replied, bark, bark, bark. You're barking up the wrong tree. These are Islamophobes. And again, it's not just Loomer. It's not just Marjorie Greene. Ms. Let's not bomb Iran, Marjorie Greene, putting out tweets. This hits hard. It's the Statue of Liberty in what we assume is a burqa. It kind of just looks like she's under renovation. So this is your anti-war person. This is your anti-war candidate. This is your anti-war right wing. It's people who are so deeply Islamophobic. And not only that, I mean, it's one thing to be deeply Islamophobic and how ironic it is that they're somehow simultaneously anti-war. They're not doing it because they don't it's that I'm sorry, but I don't want to work with these people who are not even clear that they have any sway in what happens in the Situation Room, but who are raging bigots, and not just against Muslim Americans, but against women. Okay? People who think that, yeah, every woman who gets raped should have their rapist baby. I'm not going to work with that person. These are people who think every Black Lives Matter protester was a thug. I mean, I'm sorry. Apparently, according to some people, we're not supposed to say they're racist because then they'll do racism. I don't want to work with those people. I'd rather work with the incredible upstart movement of the Zohran Mamdani campaign. So just, you have these people and they're bark, 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 bark up one tree. Oh, please love me. Please work with me. I'm anti-war too. Let's cut the Pentagon budget together. Meanwhile, Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't even sign off on the fucking War Powers Resolution Act because, of course, she's all talk and no action. Bark, 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 bark. Over here, an upstart progressive candidate in New York City is coming to power. And where's the coverage? Where's the discussion? And watch where the discussion goes if and when he becomes mayor. Just you watch. Watch where the coverage goes. Watch who you think is going to be progressive. And the last thing on this, because I know I'm basically, I am poking a massive hole in this idea that people who are against forever wars are at all doing it, that they're not also driven by massive amounts of racism. And I don't want to work with that. And I just want to put a finer point on that by giving you, and I apologize in advance, a Matt Walsh tweet. And Matt Walsh has been losing his goddamn mind. He's been losing his mind about the Zohran win, and he tweeted something I thought very, very incisive. He said, "We've spent the last 25 years bringing freedom and democracy to countries around the globe while our own has been systematically invaded. And now our largest cities are run by foreigners and communists. If you want to know why I'm so avowedly non-interventionist, this is why." Do you hear what he's saying? He's saying, effectively, I don't like my main thing is more brown people in this country. And us, I mean, he didn't say it like this, us destabilizing regimes around the world and countries around the world has led to more brown immigration. And that's why I'm so anti-interventionist. He later goes on to say, wow, 40% of New Yorkers are foreign born. This is the problem. New York City's not even America. Nah, man, that's exactly what America is. It's the land of immigrants and Native American genocide. But so that tweet is such a perfect distillation, guys. And look, if you want to make the argument to them, which it's fine to make the argument to them, look, if you don't like all the immigrants fleeing their war-torn countries, stop doing the war, right? That makes sense. But like, is that really the banner you want to carry? Is the future of the progressive movement giving little doggy treats to every random right-wing influencer who says something vaguely anti-interventionist because they happen to agree with us, like a broken clock that's right twice a day? Like, what is that? Is that what we want to build? Is that who we want to work in coalition with? No, not at all. The root of their anti-interventionism is racism. The root of their anti-war stance, as real as if they ever were real, is racism. That is the root. The broad anti-war sentiment, that's just reality. The broad voter sentiment who's against war, that's just reality. People have had family members who've gone off to war, came back traumatized, PTSD. That's just reality. But the MAGA mentality, it's racism. The influencers, the Stephen Millers, the Matt Walshes, hell, throw in the Ben Shapiros, it's ethnic religious superiority. That's what it is. It's always been about that. Laura Loomer has the ability to walk into the national security apparatus and fire people at will. That's straight up what she did. It's amazing what happens when you let Donald Trump inside of you. Marjorie Taylor Greene's not there. Laura Loomer is the most Islamophobic nut job we have. That is what she's been. That's her brand. That is her bread and butter, my people. You want to work with people like that? Oh, no, not her. Other people like Kirk. No, not Kirk. Marjorie Greene. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.